What's going on, you guys? Bias here again, and today I wanted to answer a question that's been asked to me more than any other question so far. Is Overwatch 2 a new game, or is it a DLC or update? The answer is pretty simple. I mean, if I look at it objectively as far as what was added versus other games, the answer is one thing, and then my opinion is going to be a little bit different. Let's talk a little bit about what was added. So most of the changes to heroes, a lot of the heroes have been reworked as far as CC and stuns, stuff like that. Like, a lot of that's been removed from the game. Mei no longer freezes people with her primary fire. Her ult is the only thing that freezes people. You have Briggs' shield bash was removed, so that stun is gone. Cassidy's stun is gone. It's replaced with a grenade. There was changes to Bastion, completely basically reworking him. Trying to remember all the DPS characters that were completely changed. Most of the characters, Rissa was completely changed. She doesn't have a shield anymore. Doomfist was removed from damage and put into tank, so he's no longer as oppressive as he was. There was changes basically to the entire roster of the game. Almost half of the heroes, at least, were reworked in some way to fit this new model of the game. All the tanks got more health. There's now one less tank, so it's 5v5. So what the game ends up playing like is the game ends up playing a lot more aggressive, a lot faster pace, rather than teams kind of sitting and waiting for ults. That still does happen, but it's just not as slow pace as having two tanks. There's not a main tank and an off tank anymore. What this does for the game is the gameplay is a lot more fun for people who enjoy FPS games. It is a lot more of a shooter-based game now than any time that I had ever played it before. They reworked the progression system, so you no longer get packs from playing or whatever. You have a shop, which, as you see, you can buy real world money, buy skins. You can buy skins from Overwatch 1, which I'm not a fan of. And they have seasonal skins. They're going to have events. They're going to bring in new heroes every season, or it's going to rotate every season from a map to a hero. And they have a new game mode called Push. They have some new maps. They have 3 new heroes from Overwatch 1. So they have Jugger Queen, they have Sojourn, and they have Kiriko. So there's a lot of changes, including the Battle Pass, which you may not care about. I know a lot of people find Battle Passes boring. I'm kind of one of them. But from my personal opinion, this is basically an update. I don't believe that this is Overwatch 2 really until the PvE gets here. The PvE does not come for quite a while. It has a long time away from ever showing up in the game. Then, depending on how big of an update that is, how big of an impact the PvE is on the game, how much content it is, maybe we could call it a new game. But I think that it's better just to look at this as basically a relaunch of Overwatch. They wanted to get away from the negative connotation of what was associated with their studio. Because people were looking at Blizzard as a company that doesn't update their game, that doesn't care about their game. That was one of the positive things that people were saying. Not positive, but one of the main things that people were saying was they didn't care about their game. They didn't care about their player base. They wasn't updating it. And they're committing to updating the game now, and they've made some of these changes, so maybe they could actually do that. I'm not super big on some of the changes, but I mean, if it allows them to update the game and keep it fresh, then I mean, some sacrifices have to be made. Technically speaking, if we compare it to games like Call of Duty, you could technically call it a new game, because Call of Duty, mostly what they do is they give you the same guns every year with slight changes. They make slight gameplay changes, and they call it a new game. So technically, you could make the case that this is a new game by comparing it to other games. But in my personal opinion, it's not. It's just an update. And if you were going into this expecting a new game, don't expect that. Expect a re-envisioned Overwatch, really. It plays pretty different, especially when you play against good players. And it is more fun than the 6v6 format, at least for me, in my personal opinion. And I think a lot of the changes that they made are good. I'm not down for every single thing. Not everything is perfect. But I do think that this is a positive direction for the game. And I do think that if Blizzard updates the game like they say they're going to, I believe the game could climb itself up into being a top esport again. Up there with Valorant and games like that. I'm not going to say that's going to happen because I have to see Blizzard do it. But I just thought that I would give you my take on if this is actually a new game or if it's an update. And the answer is pretty simple. It's a DLC is really what it is. They just close the other one down to get away from the negativity of the old game and try and build a new foundation that they wanted to call Overwatch 2. It's nothing different than Fortnite's like Chapter 2 or whatever it was. It's really similar to that type of thing. It's the same game. So don't go in expecting any more than what you're going to get. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. More Overwatch content coming. And as always, guys, peace out.